Imagine you are standing on an open field at dawn. The mist is rising as the first rays of sunlight warm the earth. Your neighbors gather around you, bringing tools and supplies, determination in their eyes, and unified by a shared purpose. And by the end of the day, as the sun begins to set, where there once was an empty field, now stands a magnificent barn. This is a long-standing tradition known as barn raising, practiced by the Amish and Mennonites in rural parts of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and in Ontario in Canada. It dates back to the 1800s, and families primarily made their livelihood through farming and agriculture, and having a barn was critical to their success. A barn is too complex and too big of an endeavor for a family to do on its own, and so it needed to rely on its community to make it happen. And this practice, this ability of human beings coming together, is something we've done forever as people. While there is this physical construction of the barn, a barn raising is more fundamental. It is a metaphor of the power of when people come together in the face of crisis, in the face of opportunity to do the extraordinary. And I believe community is hardwired in us as humans. Think of your own experiences, cultural traditions, religious practices, family rituals. You know what it feels like to be part of a community. The sense of belonging, the sense of mutual support. Everyone has your back. You feel like you are at your best as a person, as a human being. But I always wonder if this is inherent in the human experience. If we as humans just come together in so many parts in our lives, why is it absent in many of our workplaces? Think of your own experience at work. Can you say that you've been part of an organization that had a culture that you would describe as a community? Most of the people I talk to say no. And it doesn't have to be that way. But sure enough, we go into work every day, battling with our colleagues, working at cross purposes, department against department. Getting anything done feels next to impossible. And at the end of the day, instead of feeling this sense of accomplishment, we feel drained and maybe even a little empty inside. And it doesn't need to be that way. So, why is community important today? I believe it's important because organizations everywhere are facing more complexity than ever. In fact, research that we've done among senior executives, they identify they're dealing with, on average, 3 to 4 significant strategic challenges. Everywhere from driving accelerated growth, transforming their business model, dealing with heightened customer expectations, increased competition, hybrid world of work, talent challenges. How do you find, keep, and retain the best employees you can find? And it's not one thing they're struggling with, it's all of them coming together. One senior executive summed it best. She said to me, "Our company is at an existential crisis. Our industry has never experienced the degree of change we are facing today. And it's putting a ton of pressure on all of us." It feels a little bit like that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But I wonder, what if a typical company were to engage in a barn raising? How might that play out? So just imagine you're there in an open field with your colleagues. There's a sense of trepidation, a little anxiety, maybe a little excitement. And your CEO arrives, sporting a brand new hard hat and a megaphone. And the CEO says, "People, we're here to build the best barn ever," and then leaves. The marketing team immediately starts brainstorming slogans. Experience the ultimate barn. The sales team immediately starts going out selling stalls within the barn, promising features that don't exist or may never exist. The accountants pull up their pencils and already saying, I don't think we need 4 walls. I think we should build this with 3 walls. Legal creates a 50-page liability waiver for anyone daring to lift a plank. Engineers are battling over which nails to use. Galvanized steel. No, titanium. By the time they decide, the sun is at high noon and nothing is built yet. IT builds the best network ever. No one asked for it. The operations team builds a Gantt chart and don't realize no one knows how to swing a hammer. HR is running around doing trust fall exercises because we're going to need team building, right? Now, I know this is a humorous take on a barn raising, but then it gets serious. At the end of the day, the CEO comes back, and there's nothing there other than scattered beams, planks, and sawdust. In a stern voice, the CEO says, "Where is the barn?" Silence. And then the finger pointing starts. Sales blames marketing. Finance blames IT and legal. Engineering blames operations. Everyone blames HR. And at the height of their frustration, the CEO and the executive team make a unilateral decision to shut down the project, and they hire a consulting firm to come in to analyze what happened and make recommendations for the future. Now, for some of you, you're laughing at this and going, yeah, that's kind of humorous. And some of you are kind of quiet going, actually, this isn't too far from the truth in where I work. But here's the deal. We're at an opportunity now where we really need to be thinking about how do we create workplaces that really have a sense of community, mutual support, because the way we're working isn't working. And that is the opportunity I'd like you to think about. The CEOs in our research, 88.7% of them say they will need to have a strong workplace culture like a community to be successful in the future. 83.6% of them say we have to transform what we have because it's not good enough. And when we ask them, how confident are you that you can actually make this happen? 49.5% agree. So there's a confidence gap that exists. Now, the great thing is, community is inherent in us. And my research shows there's a number of characteristics that each of us can put into place every day. And I'm going to talk to you about 5 of them. I want you to consider them and think about putting them into practice. The first thing, and the first characteristic, is that strong workplace communities have clarity about strategy and purpose. In a barn raising, no one ever shows up confused about what they're there to do. Everybody knows it. It's crystal clear. Research shows that only 5% of employees can actually tell you what the strategy and purpose of their organization is. So what can you do every day to connect the dots to the day-to-day work of your colleagues and teams to the strategy and purpose of your organization? The second characteristic of strong workplace communities is that there is optimism about the future. No one shows up to a barn raising dragging their heels like, not another barn raising. No. They are excited because they know how important raising that barn is for that family. How can you spread optimism among your colleagues every single day? The third characteristic of a strong workplace community is that everyone shows up with a one-company mindset. What that means is they are really looking at how do we act in the best interest of the entire organization. They're breaking down silos so we can innovate and collaborate. How can you bring this one-company mindset and act in the best interest of your organization as a whole every single day? The fourth characteristic is that strong workplace communities are founded on accountability. Do you know what happens in a barn raising if you shirk your responsibility? Everybody will let you know. On no uncertain terms, you will be told that's not good enough. You will be held to account. Because a barn raising needs the contribution of every single person. How can you set the tone of accountability for your workplace, for your team, for your colleagues? And the fifth characteristic of a strong workplace community is the celebration of success. You know what happens at the end of a barn raising? People don't pick up their tools and go home. No, they have a meal together. The music starts coming. There's dancing, there's laughter, there's play. There's a genuine sense of saying, we've accomplished something extraordinary, and we need to pause and celebrate that. How can you be the person who celebrates key milestones within your workplace? I believe we need to be thinking about our workplaces like communities. And there's a huge opportunity for you to be a community builder. The great news is you need no permission. You can just start. And your colleagues will rally around you because we're starving for greater connection, greater sense of purpose, greater meaning, and wanting an environment where we all have each other's backs. So I encourage you to be the community builder in your place of work. Bring clarity where there is confusion. Bring optimism where there's negativity. Be the unifier, not the divider. Set the tone of accountability for others and celebrate success. I want you to join me in this movement to create workplace communities. Thank you.